Imagine waking up one day, staring into the mirror and feeling a void where your dreams should be. For 30 years, Mary felt exactly that. What if, after decades of conformity and quiet despair, there existed a hidden spark waiting to be ignited? Each day she walked the same streets, performed the same routines, and heard the same echoes of doubt from those around her, believing that her life was destined to follow a predetermined path. Mary wasn't alone. Many live within invisible cages built by expectations, family, society, and most notably themselves. But here lies the crux of our story. Mary, after 30 years, was about to confront her own reflection and ask the question that would change everything. What if she chose to break free? In her bustling suburban town, Mary wore many hats: a dedicated mother, an unwavering friend, a loyal employee. Yet, as the sun rose and set day after day, her heart longed for something beyond the ordinary. Life had become a series of shoulds and musts, stifling her from exploring the world that lies beyond the mundane. Her laughter often masked an undercurrent of restlessness, where dreams weighed heavily on her shoulders like a burden she had long accepted. But that unyielding desire for more began to flicker, fueled by whispers of possibility that had been silenced for far too long. And so, on a seemingly ordinary day, she would stumble upon a turning point, an unexpected encounter that would set her on a journey towards reclaiming her identity. Would she muster the courage to embrace this new path? Or would the fear of the unknown keep her tethered to the familiar? This is Mary's story, a courageous tale of transformation, reminding us that sometimes liberation starts with a single, bold decision. In the heart of a bustling suburban community, where the rhythm of life seemed almost choreographed, Mary lived a life that appeared picture-perfect to the outside world. Each morning she would rise before the dawn, the house still cloaked in shadows, preparing breakfast for her family while the world outside began to stir. Mary was the quintessential mother and dedicated employee, placing the needs of others before her own in a way many considered exemplary. She spent her days balancing work deadlines and school activities, dreaming silently of adventures tucked away in the corners of her mind. But there was a deeper narrative unfolding beneath this facade. As the years rolled on, the dreams Mary once had began to fade like distant stars, obscured by clouds of obligation and the pressure of expectations. Her role as a mother and wife was marred by an unrelenting tug at her heart, where ambitions lay dormant, stifled by the very choices she had made to nurture those she loved. She often found herself yearning for freedom, for the chance to paint the canvas of her life with bold colors and vivid dreams, yet feeling shackled by the chains of routine and duty. In quiet moments, when the household settled into slumber, Mary's thoughts would drift to unfulfilled aspirations. Memories of her youthful ambitions, the passion for art, the desire to travel, and the burning need to leave a mark on the world, felt like fragments of a life she had abandoned. Trapped in a cycle, she struggled with self-doubt, believing that her dreams had become relics of a bygone era, overshadowed by the mundane. Then, one fateful afternoon, as she sat in a bustling cafe, nursing a cup of lukewarm coffee, a stranger's conversation caught her attention. Two women at the next table were reminiscing about their own crossroads, sharing how a frightening leap of faith had transformed their lives entirely. One of them spoke about turning 30, the age she realized she was free to pursue passions once thought unattainable. That moment struck a chord within Mary, setting off a chain reaction in her heart. It was as though a light had flickered to life in the depths of her being. Could she too reclaim what she had set aside for the sake of others? This encounter ignited a spark of determination within her, one that would ultimately illuminate her path, leading her to reconsider the boundaries she had lived within. She began to question, "Am I truly living or merely existing?" As she reflected on those words, the prospect of change started to feel not just possible, but necessary. This conversation would soon prove to be the catalyst for her journey, a pivotal moment that altered her life's trajectory forever. In the stillness of a late evening, just as the sun dipped below the horizon, Mary found herself standing at a crossroads. A haunting silence enveloped her as the weight of her unfulfilled dreams loomed larger than life. What if she chose to step into the unknown? What if she dared to unravel the tightly woven tapestry of her existence? The thoughts swirled in her mind, relentless and unyielding, igniting a fierce upheaval within her soul. Every passing day, the routine that once provided comfort began to feel like a prison. The laughter of her children echoed as a bittersweet reminder of the freedom she lacked, and the flickering fluorescent lights of her office seemed to cast shadows on a life brimming with unrealized potential. It was as if time itself had conspired against her. The dreams that once burned brightly in her heart now flickered like fading embers, restrained by expectation and fear. Mary's internal conflict intensified, a fierce tug of war at the core of her being. Could she truly risk everything she had built? What would it mean to pivot, to confront not just societal norms but also the disapproval of those she held dear? As she weighed her desires against the fears that gripped her heart, the slippery slope of doubt began to feel like a chasm, a fall she was terrified to take. In the throes of these disquieting thoughts, she shared her aspirations with her closest friends, seeking solace and guidance. Yet, rather than encouragement, she was met with skepticism that felt like icy water poured over her flames of hope. "You have a secure life, Mary. Why throw it all away for something uncertain?" they said, their voices drumming in her ears like persistent hammers, each word driving nails into her burgeoning resolve. With every skeptical glance, she felt her dreams slipping further from her grasp, swallowed by a tide of fear and uncertainty. At home, her husband's well-meaning caution echoed in the back of her mind. "What if this leads to financial instability? What will the kids think?" The stark reality of his words pierced through her, leaving her with a gnawing sense of guilt. Would her pursuit of happiness provoke resentment, sow discord within her family, and jeopardize the delicate balance they had established? Moments of vulnerability crept in during these conversations, bringing tears to her eyes as she grappled with a heart divided between passion and responsibility. The conversations replayed endlessly, a haunting loop of doubt that kept her awake at night. Friends, family, society, they all seemed to wield invisible chains that bound her to her past, making her question her very essence. Was it selfish to want more? Was she risking everything for a flicker of hope? The stakes felt impossibly high, and with every passing day, the fear of making a colossal misstep cast a dark shadow over her once illuminated path. Yet, just when despair threatened to extinguish the last flicker of her resolve, a profound realization began to take root. She understood that the most significant regret would not be failure, but inaction. The voices of those around her could only echo her own doubts if she allowed them to dictate her decisions. Within the torrent of uncertainty, a quiet strength began to emerge, whispering that true courage lay in the willingness to embrace the unknown, regardless of how deeply it might unsettle her world. But would she find the strength within herself to take that step into the abyss of possibility? The collision of fear and hope set the stage for a pivotal moment where Mary would have to confront the choice that loomed ahead, a moment that would ultimately define not just her future, but the very essence of who she was destined to become. As the dawn of change unfurled before her very eyes, Mary stood at a precipice that beckoned her to leap into the unknown. With a heart heavy yet hopeful, she made the decision that would reshape the narrative of her life, a decision to take action. The foundations she had built began to tremble as she resolved to quit her job, an anchor that, while familiar, had long stifled her aspirations. With each ticking moment, the weight of her choice settled upon her shoulders, an exquisite blend of terror and liberation. Returning to school felt like stepping into the pages of a new chapter, yet it was not without its own obstacles. Balancing coursework with family life posed a unique challenge. Nights became filled with late study sessions, snatched between her children's bedtime stories and her husband's quiet concerns. Financial strain crept into her consciousness, interweaving with her mounting responsibilities. Where once her paycheck had sustained them, the absence of that stability tightened the noose of anxiety around her. Would her sacrifices yield the fruits she hoped for, or simply lead to deeper despair? The shadows of self-doubt threatened to encroach upon her newfound determination. Each morning as she prepared for class, the nagging voice of insecurity whispered harsh realities. What if you don't belong here? What if this is all for nothing? Yet, amid the cacophony of uncertainty, Mary resolved to silence those fears, recognizing the urgency to forge ahead. Each small assignment, each completed project, became a testament to her resolve. With studying came understanding, and with understanding came the courage to confront the obstacles that fell into her path. In the midst of this challenging journey, a spark of support ignited her faith in herself. Lisa, a fellow student, entered Mary's life like a ray of sunshine piercing through a dense fog. Their initial meeting was humble, a shared moment over coffee in the campus cafe, where they bonded over late-night cramming and shared ambitions. Lisa's infectious enthusiasm and unwavering belief in Mary's potential became a lifeline during moments of uncertainty. "You've got this, Mary. Remember why you started," she would say, her words serving as a balm for Mary's fraying courage on particularly tough days. As exams loomed and the pressure mounted, Lisa became a steadfast companion, a constant reminder that even in the depths of struggle she was not alone. They spent countless evenings poring over textbooks, exchanging laughs and frustrations alike, creating a sanctuary of camaraderie amidst their journey. The moments of shared vulnerability fostered a deep sense of solidarity between them, reinforcing that there was strength in their shared experiences. But the challenges did not relent. During one particularly taxing week, a major exam threatened to overwhelm her. The specter of self-doubt loomed large, whispering, "What if I fail?" Yet, buoyed by the support of Lisa and the teachings she absorbed in class, Mary redirected her energy. She prepared meticulously, reminding herself to trust the skills she had cultivated. The results of that exam validated her efforts, igniting a flicker of belief that had long been dimmed. With every step forward, each small victory propelled her further away from the self-doubt that once anchored her. Mary came to understand the invaluable lesson that personal growth does not exist in isolation. The connections she forged, the encouragement she received, and the vulnerability she allowed herself to embrace became catalysts for her transformation, each reinforcing her tenacity and resilience. Through trials and triumphs, she emerged from the shadows of her past, inching closer to the life she'd envisioned, a life brimming with authenticity and purpose. Though the road remained fraught with uncertainties, her journey had taught her one pivotal truth. In the heart of challenging circumstances, support can illuminate the way forward, guiding even the most hesitant souls toward newfound strength. With every challenge faced and every moment of support felt, Mary transformed, shedding the layers of apprehension that once held her captive. The journey was far from over, but with each step taken, she edged closer to reclaiming a life defined by her own terms, woven together by strength, determination, and the unwavering belief that she was indeed capable of much more than she had ever imagined. In an unpredictable world, moments of clarity often emerge from the chaos, and for Mary, the transformation she had long sought began to crystallize into reality. Where once uncertainty loomed large, the fruits of her labor started to flourish, and small victories paved a path toward her aspirations. Each step forward reverberated through her life, quietly asserting the power of her resolve. Securing her new job stood as a testament to her courage, propelling her into unfamiliar territory where she could finally thrive. The initial warmth of acceptance washed over her, mingling with the flutter of nerves as she settled into her new environment. Each day unfolded with opportunities to contribute, and as feedback from colleagues flowed in, she was buoyed by their recognition. "Your ideas are refreshing," they remarked, igniting a fire within her. Every encouraging word felt like a small victory, each an affirmation that she was carved from the right material to succeed. Yet as her confidence began to build, she soon discovered the paradox of progress. Each forward stride inevitably carried the weight of potential setbacks. A project she had passionately championed faced unforeseen challenges, casting a shadow over her newfound joy. Questions echoed in her mind. Was she truly equipped for this? Did she possess the resilience to navigate the storm? Those moments of uncertainty hung heavily, threatening to unmoor her from the very progress she had fought to establish. However, it was within those trials that Mary unearthed the essence of her strength. She realized that setbacks did not signal failure. Instead, they became lessons cloaked in adversity. Each hurdle transformed into a stepping stone, urging her to evaluate and adapt. Armed with newfound determination, she sought solutions, collaborating with her team to overcome obstacles. The process of turning challenges into opportunities fostered a deeper connection with her colleagues and strengthened the bonds of their professional relationships. With each setback she surmounted, Mary learned to view herself through a different lens. She understood that resilience is not born solely from achievements, but from the willingness to embrace challenges head-on and grow from them. Each lesson reflected facets of her character that had been dormant, sparking an evolving sense of self-awareness. In the quiet moments after the chaos had settled, Mary took time to reflect on her journey, a journey that had significantly altered her trajectory. Sitting by the window, she gazed outside, her thoughts drifting through the tapestry of experiences that had unfolded. She marveled at the distance she had traversed. What once seemed unattainable had gradually become attainable. The hushed whispers of her former self, filled with fear and uncertainty, began to fade, replaced by a growing self-assurance. She began to comprehend the significance of each step. The triumphs were celebrated, but it was the challenges she had faced that truly molded her spirit. With each success came a deeper understanding of her worth and abilities, illuminating the path she was destined to follow. Mary recognized that transformation does not arrive as a singular event, but rather unfolds in layers, each revealing another facet of her potential. She found herself not just as a professional but as an advocate for her own desires and visions. The world around her felt vibrant, dynamic, the shades of possibility expanding with every resolve she forged. Her gratitude deepened, not only for victories but for the trials that had shaped her. She acknowledged the wisdom gleaned through struggles, recognizing that her route had been anything but linear. It bore the marks of hardship, but also the glow of unforeseen resilience she never knew she possessed. With a gentle smile, Mary embraced the richness of her transformation, the fusion of triumph and growth becoming inseparable. Now, as she prepared for the future, she understood that she stood not merely on the brink of change, but in the midst of becoming. a journey far from over, yet beautifully profound. The sense of who she was and what she was capable of reverberated within. A melody that resonated with hope and the promise of tomorrow. As we draw to a close on Mary's remarkable journey of transformation, a poignant truth emerges. The stories of change are not just hers, they belong to all of us. Each of us carries a narrative, a path lined with experiences that shape who we are and who we aspire to become. In a world filled with challenges and obstacles, your voice matters. We invite you to reflect on your own journey. Have you faced moments of uncertainty, calls for change, or challenges that tested your resolve? We encourage you to share your thoughts in the comments below. Your insights could inspire someone else seeking the courage to take their own leap. If you found value in Mary's story, consider subscribing to our channel for more inspiring content that explores the intricacies of personal growth and transformation. Together, let us create a community where stories are shared and voices are amplified. Whether it's a triumph, a setback, or a lesson learned, every experience matters. Join us in this conversation about change, yours and ours. After all, it is through our stories that we forge connections and find strength in one another. Let's embark on this journey of transformation, hand in hand.